Hi, and welcome to today's webinar. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. This webinar is being recorded and we'll share following the event. Thank you for joining. Hi, and thank you for joining today's webinar. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes. We are recording today's webinar and we'll share the recording and the slides following today's event. Thank you for joining. Thank you everyone for joining today's webinar. We'll get started here in just a minute. All lines have been muted. This is being recorded and we'll share the recording and the slides following today's event. Hello, and thank you everyone for joining today's webinar, Cloud ERP for Financial Executives, a comprehensive overview of Dynamics Business Central and Sage Intacct for modern finance teams. This webinar is being recorded. I have just a few housekeeping items to go over before we get started. All lines have been muted to eliminate any background noise. And if you experience any technical difficulties, please let us know by using the chat panel. We'll be taking questions throughout today's webinar and we'll answer as many as time allows. So please feel free to submit your question at any time. You can do it in the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. We encourage you to also use the chat features as there's a lot of attendees registered for today's webinar and someone else may have gone through the same challenge as you are. Today's webinar does qualify for 1 CPE credit and you must stay on for the entire webinar as well as respond to all of the poll questions and the survey to qualify for CPE. CPE certificates will be emailed to those who qualify in the next 7 to 10 days. Now we'll get started with the webinar. Please help me welcome our presenters for today's webinar, Glenn Sharp and Patrick Johnson. Glenn Sharp is the Sales Support Manager for Sage Intacct practice here at LBMC Tech. And Glenn's got over 20 years experience in the ERP space. Glenn is one of the sought out experts from Sage Intacct and often consults with Sage directly. Glenn has deep experience in design and implementation of complex systems and brings his background of systems management and cloud ERP today. Glenn regularly presents at Sage Intacct, Transform, and is a regular webinar presenter for us here at LBMC Tech. Patrick Johnson is the Business Central Practice Manager here at LBMC Technology Solutions. Patrick brings over 20 years experience in the ERP space and is a subject matter expert in every aspect of ERP, often working directly with Microsoft and its vast network of solutions providers to bring new and meaningful solutions to the marketplace. With 12 years as an end user, Patrick brings practical experience to customers, translating business needs to provide impactful deliverables and solutions throughout each organization. Gentlemen, thank you so much for hosting today.
All right, thank you, Nicole, for that introduction, and thanks everyone for joining us as we continue our Cloud ERP journey for today. Our agenda, as we're going to be discussing today, we're going to talk about streamlining operations for and driving growth for organizations of any size, choosing the right solution that aligns with industry-specific requirements and your needs, what to look for when evaluating other ERP solutions on the market, and highlighting key differences between cloud-based ERP solutions. I'll be showing the Sage Intacct side, and Patrick will be showing the Microsoft Dynamics Business Central side. So just a little bit about LBMC, if you are not familiar with us. We've been established since 1996 as a technology firm. We are part of a larger accounting firm. That's one of the top 50 accounting and business consulting firms in the US. Within our technologies firm, we have, of course, software consultants, network engineers, developers, project managers, and business managers. And we have 3 locations in Knoxville, Nashville, and Charlotte, but we have consultants all over the US. We are nationally recognized accounting today as of our top partner. And then we also are present or represented in Gartner's top right Magic Quadrant. These are just to show some of the awards that we have with some of our partners that we partner with. So you can see a Sage Tech partner there, as well as a Microsoft partner. So we have a lot of experience on our team that we bring into our implementations to help you when you're selecting a solution, and also to guide you through the implementation process. So first, we're going to talk about why the cloud is right for my organization. Some of you already made this decision, within your organization. So that's what we'll be discussing today. So of course, with the cloud, as some of you already know, it's kind of anytime, anywhere accessibility. It's kind of one of the key benefits of moving to the cloud, which is kind of standard for the most operations today or organizations that people work at. The whole finance team can work anywhere, in the office, at home, around the corner, around the world, using only a standard and secure web browser and an internet connection. So you don't need extra security hardware or software or even a VPN connection to access the different deliverables we'll be talking about today. So another question, does my business need to accelerate financial processes without increasing headcount or IT budget? So a high ROI and rapid payback are common with cloud applications. In a recent study by Nucleus Research, cloud-based financial management and accounting implementations were found to deliver 3.2 times more ROI than on-premise software. So considerable financial advantages come from avoiding the capital investment and operating expenses associated with an on-premise system. But cloud systems also drive higher ROI through time savings and process efficiencies. Since cloud systems are inherently web-based, live, and real-time, they greatly accelerate crucial financial processes like collections, consolidations, and period closes. Plus, modern cloud-based systems offer extensive automation and integration capabilities. You can go a long way toward eliminating productivity busters like manual data entry, paper-based processes, and spreadsheet maintenance. The third point there is, does my financial system need to integrate with the CRM or other applications? So easy integration comes with the territory in the cloud. APIs and web-based services enable cloud systems to easily integrate with one another so your company can use the best applications for each functional area of the business. That means there's no more costly custom programming and maintenance from extensive IT resources. Number 4 is, do my managers want or need self-service access to the relevant KPIs? So real-time visibility is a hallmark of today's cloud systems. You can provide access not only to traditional finance department users, but also to other stakeholders across the business. For instance, many financial services firms that are adopting cloud financials provide real-time dashboards for their management team. So everyone can see the key performance indicators that apply to their department. Others provide access to a broader range of employees so they can view dashboards, enter and approve expenses, and create purchase orders. Some also give lenders, auditors, CPAs, and even board members real-time access to key information to build trusted relationships. And number 5, does my organization struggle with inefficient processes? The cloud can help you gain company-wide operational efficiencies. You can streamline classic finance processes such as consolidations and close, but you can also leverage the internet to tie in other company functions and processes, as well as your customers and suppliers. For a few examples, you can coordinate purchasing workflows that involve all stakeholders. You can deliver a 360-degree order-to-cash process that connects finance and sales. And you can create budget dashboards for department managers and help increase operational alignment. The cloud enables companies to sidestep the pitfalls of management by spreadsheet and avoid the limitations of single-user systems like QuickBooks that trap information in desktop silos. Then the last question is, do we need to compete with bigger business on a smaller budget? A cloud-based financial system lets you tap into a world-class infrastructure. Your Cloud ERP vendor amortizes costs over thousands of customers so they can maintain world-class infrastructure and provide you with 24/365 operations, continuous backups, disaster recovery, and superior security. This offers you a far higher level of performance, reliability, and security that you may not be able to afford on your own. Plus, cloud applications can be provisioned immediately and are upwardly or downwardly scalable, so you can get started quickly and change on a dime. So this will bring us to our first poll question. Why are you evaluating a new ERP solution? So we'll give you a minute to fill that out when it shows up, and then Nicole will let us know when those questions have been answered.
The poll question should be there on your screen now. We'll give everybody about 45 seconds to answer. We'll take about 10 more seconds, get those answers in. All right, we'll share those results.
Okay. So many are currently on a legacy system. Some have outgrown their current solution, and some need additional functionality or tools that the current system are not able to support. So we thank you for those results. For this, we'll have some more poll questions coming up here shortly. Now we're going to discuss selecting a solution, kind of what's involved with that. Just kind of want to encourage that this is still about using best practices as you would with other things. So first of all, of course, gather requirements. Carefully define and document your needs. Get input and gain consensus from key users in finance and related departments across the organization. Do you need to integrate with CRM systems? Then talk to sales. Do you need to deploy new purchase requisition processes? Well, then talk to accounts payable, or if you have a purchasing department, talk to them. Next is identify top priorities and challenges. No system meets every need for every user. Determine which functionality and requirements are must and rank them so that you can select the system which best fits your finance team's unique needs. And then research your options. Go online to develop a shortlist, sift through competing offerings, and comb through independent researches and reviews. You can consult social networks like LinkedIn and Twitter to connect with people that are already using the products you are evaluating. And then for real-world reviews by actual users, you can check out some sites like Performative, TrustRadius, the Salesforce.com App Exchange, or websites such as G2 as well. The number 4 is demo or trial from that shortlist. So there's no substitute for careful evaluation of the user's experience, but also be sure to see how things work at the administrative level as well on these systems. And then after that, number 5, focus on the product fit. Don't overlook the basic truth. Regardless of deployment model, there's still no substitute for functional excellence. You need a financial system that offers the comprehensive, up-to-date features that modern organizations require. For instance, many companies find that multiple entity consolidation and project-based accounting are as essential as real-time reporting, process customization, automated approvals, and integration with other software products. And then number 6, check references, score, and select. So be sure you carefully screen vendor references. Make certain that vendors provide access to happy and successful customers, but don't overlook those trusted online forums like G2 or Salesforce.com App Exchange, where you can access unscreened and filtered feedback about vendor performance. Next, we're going to discuss what to look for in cloud software provider. The ideal cloud financial solution is designed from the ground up as a cloud application and is backed by vendor and partners with extensive experience. Make sure your vendor can point to a proven track record of successful implementations. Then look at the operational track record. Your chosen vendor isn't merely developing and licensing software, they're managing the financial systems that run your business. So which makes the partnership strategic for you. So find out how your vendor connects business. What's the cultural fit with your company? What standards do they pursue? And what are the applications physically being run? And then data ownership. Ensure that it's unambiguous that you own your own data and can obtain a copy of your data, sometimes for a fee, if your relationship ends. You also want an agreement for appropriate assistance in migrating away from the vendor should you ever decide to leave. Then infrastructure and security. Most cloud computing vendors partner with elite data center providers that provide the backbone to their offerings. Find out who those partners are. Where are the data centers located? What are the business continuity contingencies? What security standards have they adopted? Can they deliver guaranteed and appropriate levels of uptime? How do they prevent, detect, remediate physical and network security breaches? Thoroughly evaluate each vendor's network operations center and the technology infrastructure. Then the ROI, return on investment, or TCO, total cost of ownership. Although the financial models can vary significantly, the total cost of ownership is typically far lower for cloud computing systems than it is for on-premise and hosted systems. Take the time to carefully structure proper ROI scenarios and timelines to determine the investments and payback periods. The only ongoing cost should be annual or monthly fees for the software subscription, training, and configuration. If you're comparing cloud to on-premise solutions, remember that software licensing for an on-premise solution actually makes up a very small percentage of its total cost. Additional ongoing costs may also be included in those numbers. And then look for service level agreements. A good support agreement will specify what level of support is free with subscription and will offer several levels of additional support. If it is important to you to have access to US-based experts, find out where your service partner or vendor support team is located. Given the stakes, a world-class service level agreement, or also called an SLA, is a non-negotiable requirement when dealing with cloud computing vendor. For cloud computing, rely more heavily on your software vendor for support. You can't simply walk down the hall and ask your IT department for assistance if you encounter a system problem. Make sure your vendor has appropriate infrastructure to offer the best expertise and responsiveness. There's also some SLAs of the service level agreements that you want to kind of be aware of. One is system availability. So look for a vendor that can commit to 99% availability or higher. Disaster recovery, is there a data center disaster? If there's a data center disaster, make sure that you'll be back up in 24 hours, and that you'll lose no more than 2 hours of data. Data integrity and ownership, if you decide to leave your cloud vendor in the future, you should be able to get your data out of the vendor system. Support response. As a general rule, your vendor should be transparent about what constitutes a high priority, medium priority, or low priority issue. And they should be able to respond more quickly to the high priority request. And then, of course, an escalation procedure if you have one. If you have a support case that you feel needs to be escalated, be provided with a clear escalation path and the contact information of at least 3 people to contact. And then maintenance communication. Your vendor should let you know when regular reoccurring maintenance activities take place and should post a special notification if any maintenance activity is expected to take longer than normal. And of course, on product communication as well, your vendor should commit to providing regular updates on new product features and product release notes. Now that we've kind of gone over some of that information, I'm going to get into kind of something specific to the Sage Intacct product. I'm just going to kind of talk about why some customers have switched to Sage Intacct. And these are just some of the areas, dimensional reporting being one, just providing a lot more levels of reporting that's available. Best practices, just kind of help within those processes to really kind of cut down on some of the things that take up kind of the monthly close and those type of activities. And banking automation, speeding up bank reconciliation, expense reimbursements by eliminating redundant data entry. Then of course, AP automation. So the efficient integration, this customer here was using Bill.com, and since Intacct has open APIs, was able to integrate with it, and each year is saving them about $20,000 in cost. Next, we're going to talk about why businesses choose Sage Intacct. So these are common challenges we hear from organizations, many like yours, of why they're looking for another solution. They may say their reporting is manual, delayed, and inaccurate, or they have no real-time reporting on the financial status of projects, or tracking project costs is nearly impossible, or sometimes it's all done in other systems. The data is siloed across multiple disconnected systems. And then if they have to consolidate companies, a lot of times that's done outside of the system manually, usually in Excel. The close process seems like a never-ending cycle. Reconciliations snowball into hours of time. Billing, if you're doing billing, is a long, manual, error-prone process. Or they may have inaccurate time tracking, which leads to revenue leakage. And of course, the current system may not be able to scale with the organizations. When we talk about Intact, when we talk about it's being recognized as a leader in cloud financials, it's kind of set up ideally for small and mid-sized organizations. And these are some of the different areas that we have worked with many of our customers: financial services, healthcare, hospitality, and franchises, a lot of nonprofits, professional services, software and SaaS, and retail and wholesale. So it is very kind of goes across a wide variety of different industries. And then Intact is also very scalable. It can grow with you every step of the way. This is an example of 3 different companies here that use Sage Intact and have gone towards an IPO through their process. Snapsheet, as you can see here, grew revenue 6 times to 140,000 in annual headcount and saves 30 hours weekly. Grubhub manages the complexity of their business. They have about 500,000 lines of orders data into Sage Intact every day, and they get real-time visibility into operations and financials. And then Workiva lowered compliance risk and achieved a market cap of over $6.6 billion. So these are just a few examples of companies that started Intact with maybe when they were a smaller company, but it's been able to grow with them over time. And just some examples of the way that Intact is, flexible and can grow with companies. This is just kind of a snapshot of some of the type of transactions and the volumes of those transactions that Intact kind of monitors and able to see. So total transactions booked for this, 2.28 billion. This is over, I think, about a year. Vendors, 2.2 million. Timesheet entries, 8.83 million. Customers, almost 5.5 million. As far as revenue recognition schedules, managing those schedules within the system, 73 million of those. And just transactional data, 895 gigabytes of transactional data. And this is as of, I think, 2021. So, of course, this would be increased as time goes on as well. While Sage Intacct has typically been known for their leading core accounting, today they offer accounting and finance leaders seamlessly connected solutions where it matters most. They bring together natively connected products across accounting and ERP planning, payroll, and HR and analytics that simply work together, all from Sage Intacct, building the strong foundation that you need to power your organization's growth and future success. So Intacct can help you thrive in today's digital world by freeing up more time for you to think strategically and guide your organization with automation and AI that's built into the core of the solution, enabling you to budget, plan, and quickly adapt to ever-changing conditions via native collaboration planning that's quick to deploy, easy to use, and provides powerful scenario modeling. And surfacing instant predictive insights to make data-driven decisions through the use of real-time multidimensional reporting and dashboards, as well as plug-and-play advanced analytics through interactive solutions like Visual Explorer. And then providing an integrated payroll and human capital management system that allows you to easily combine payroll, people, and accounting data for better business insights and leveraging industry-leading payroll and HR solutions to scale your business with confidence. This following slide just shows some of the kind of how Intacct is structured within the system. So you can see the kind of the foundation is providing visibility and insight, streamlining intelligent automation, and then customizing the solution where it's needed. That, of course, leads to the core accounting products of Intacct, which is open payments, cash management, AR and AP, general ledger, consolidations, and then building upon that with additional features like budgeting and planning, quote to cash, inventory, and procure to pay. Using those features then in a lot of different industries. So we can see here software, construction, NFP, professional services, healthcare, financial services, and many more. So it's a very scalable solution to your business and how you use your business. And to enhance your organization's operations, Sage Intacct offers the flexibility and choice to connect to other solutions that best fit your needs. You can tap into their existing ecosystem of 400 plus marketplace partners that offer connectors to their solutions that are built using the Sage Intacct APIs and are tested and proven. Additionally, you can use those same open APIs that the marketplace partners use to build integrations to other providers of your choice. With strategic partners like Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics CRM, we make it easy for you to use the best solutions for every part of your connected organization. It wants you to have a choice in choosing best-of-breed solutions. In fact, the majority of our customers integrate with 2 or more partner applications to further automate workflow. So our goal is to help you run your organization as efficiently as possible, enable you to create the right solutions for you. So sometimes the question is, why Sage Intacct? Well, they have the solutions and functionality to scale with you for the long term. They have the leading technology validated by customers and analysts like AICPA, G2, MarketScape, TrustRadius. And they have the right people and customer-centric programs to be your trusted partners for the long term. And they're more than happy to provide you with those customer testimonials should you need them. One unique thing about Sage Intacct that I might have mentioned earlier is that only Sage Intacct offers a buy with confidence guarantee. So this buy with confidence guarantee kind of identifies certain areas that they are going to hold themselves to help you, like outstanding availability of 99.8%. You can check the status on their platform at any time to see kind of where they're trending or where things are going. They also provide a lot of data security, disaster recovery, billing accuracy, professional services quality, data ownership, then communication excellence. Kind of some of those buy with confidence guarantees. They guarantee a 99.8% guaranteed uptime of the software. They also, of course, have 24-hour disaster recovery. You own your data, as we mentioned. You own your own data, and you may download this data at any time during your subscription. And then professional services quality. They strive for 100% satisfaction with professional services. And you can receive a 10% credit if those services do not meet your needs. This is going to bring us to our next poll question, which is, what is your timeline for evaluating the new ERP solutions? So we'll give you just a minute to fill that out.
You should be seeing the poll there on your screen. We'll give everybody about 30 more seconds to respond. All right, I think we've got all the answers in.
Okay, we have kind of a mix there, yeah, between 12 months, 24 months, and 36 months of those. So appreciate everyone taking part in those surveys. Now I want to talk about some of the features of Sage Intacct that kind of sets it apart or differentiates Sage Intacct and some of the capabilities that it has built natively within the solution. So quarterly updates. Intacct is built on what's called a multi-tenant architecture. Okay, so that means that you're never on an old version of the software. You're always up to date. You don't have to go through those difficult types of upgrade processes that you may be going through now as you do that. This also updates using the AI, intelligent automation features, and then it kind of goes through the system to make sure that it does not break any existing functionality and integrations with that, so you're not down as those updates are happening. And it's always providing additional functionality. And a lot of that functionality is based off of input from customers that may be in a future release. So they use that information as feedback, as they improve the product. And the accounting structure, and I'll talk a little bit more about this one in just a moment. But Sage Intacct uses a simplified yet powerful combination of GL accounts, statistical accounts, dimensions to provide the greatest and easiest flexibility in reporting. Native multi-entity and consolidations. This is something that takes some organizations a lot of time in order to do that, but Intacct kind of sets that up natively within the system to allow it to have multi-entities. Then it kind of handles automatically those to-from transactions. And then if you do need to use consolidations as well, then it will help you consolidate that those different entities together in multiple levels, if needed. Revenue recognitions. This is built into Sage Intacct to provide the process of setting up and deferring revenue under multiple different scenarios. A lot of times companies keep this external to their system, in Excel or things like that, but Intacct handles that and posts that revenue recognition on a schedule that you set up within it, and you can kind of monitor that, and it does it throughout the for that sales process. And the ease of reporting. Sage Intacct makes the creation and the maintaining of reports it's a very user-friendly process that you're able to do. Of course, we provide training on that as well, but you're able to create financial reports or all types of reports within Sage Intacct, and you're also able to create dashboards to show that information, provide that information to others. And then as far as multi-currency and global consolidations, if you do deal with other currencies, whether that be just currencies for transactions, or if you have some of your entities may actually be need to be set up in another currency, Intacct can handle that type of interactions. So you can set up and work in multiple currencies, which is all set up and maintained within the system, the different currency and currency rates, as well as the global consolidation. So if you need to consolidate different of your entities together, even though they may be in different currencies, you can set up that what's called a consolidation book and decide what currency you want to show your financials in, and it will handle all of that type of reporting and that conversion for you within the consolidations. So it's very flexible in how you use the system, but also very powerful. But I want to kind of key on one of Intacct's areas, which is their accounting structure, and talk about that a little bit more. So when I talk about using something like GL Plus, General Ledger Plus, I'm referring to the standards for the information that you report on. So all these standards have to do with GAAP and non-GAAP type of reporting, which means you want to have a GL that understands both GAAP and non-GAAP type of information. So when I say non-GAAP, I mean being able to store non-financial information into what's commonly known as statistical accounts. So you can report on industry-specific metrics that are unique to your business. And so that's why we like to call it like GL Plus. One thing about non-GAAP is that this information is usually external, like bookings data from your CRM system or headcount data from your HCM system. And you want external information to exist in your financial system so you can have a single source and a center of gravity for your data and your strategies. So Intacct allows you to bring that statistical type of data into the system. And this is just an example of some of that beyond GAAP type of reporting here. So what is circled in green is an example of how some software companies, in this case, would think of non-GAAP. They don't all do it this way, and you can have their own company-specific metrics. That's important to your company. But if GAAP is an accounting profession standard, then what's non-GAAP will be whatever metrics and other unique things that are unique to your business and things that you want to track. So you can here you can see that it's tracking the number of user licenses, it's making a calculation based off of that, so that you can see what's the revenue per license. So statistical accounts and the use of those is allowing some of that non-GAAP type of information into your financial system. Intacct also uses dimensions in its structure. So what is a dimension? If you think about the chart of accounts, every system allows you to count for time in a scenario. But there are other attributes that matter to your business, such as customer, vendor, location, department, etc. These attributes are the dimensions of the business that matter when you do your analysis. And a financial system should be intelligent enough to know how to categorize all your data in a way that's easy to find, which includes using a dimensional structure that's tailored to your business, like the one that you can see here. And some of the dimensions, as you can see here, you can rename them, and call them what you need to in order to provide the information that you want. And here we can see this is looking at a transaction where some of the dimensions like customer, employee, franchise, where we are, kind of identifying those different dimensional values, and then you're able to report off of any of these individually or collectively. In some systems, having multiple dimensional values is thinking of like a segmented chart of accounts, but it's a lot more easy to maintain than a segmented chart of accounts. Because in those, every time you add a new department, for example, if that's one of your dimensions, you have to have a whole set of other GL accounts that are created because you've added a new department. In Sage Intacct, that makes it much easier because you are dealing with, on this transaction here, we can see that the account number in the bottom left corner is 6320. And the 6320 right here is just what the GL account number. Okay, it's like the main or natural account. So you don't have to have, a different, this is for promotion advertising, so you don't have to have a different GL account for every one of your different departments and things like that, or different projects that you have. You just have one within the system, and then you tag it with the different dimensions, which may include department and location or other dimensions such as project, vendor, employee. So you can tag it with all these different types of dimensions to use for your reporting. Then if you add a new employee or add a new department, you're just adding one to the drop-down list. You're not creating a whole new set of GL accounts for that. And then when you're using that information, of course, recording it at the transaction level, so this is looking at an AP bill, so recording it here at the transaction level, then that information will come into your reports. You can use it within your reporting system. So here is just an example of using the real-time multidimensional analysis whenever you're looking at data. So here again, we're looking at what's called a dashboard. So this is a dashboard for CFO where all of the information is kind of coming together here. And you can see up here at the top where I have in green is some of the different dimensions. So looking at location, customer, items. But if I wanted to look at this information, and maybe if I'm the CFO across my organization, okay, then I could see every one of my different companies in here. But if I want to drill down and just look at maybe my Texas location or something like that, I can select that and all my information will change just to show that, show the data just for that. You don't have to build different reports to show that type of data. You can use the same information. And that's, of course, using your revenue information up here. These are called performance cards, or your financial report information, financial graphs here, or any other metrics that you want to use to kind of measure and show on your dashboards. Okay, so it's a very flexible system that you can use within Intacct, and also you can use the power of those dimensions to look at your data and kind of really slice and dice your financial information. That's one of the key points I want to talk, and show as far as in Sage Intacct is how the financial structure is brought together for that. So that will conclude my portion of this. And so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Patrick to show you some about Business Central.
Okay, good morning. Glenn, you mind if I steal your screen share there?
Absolutely.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate you going over that highlight around Sage Intacct. Thank everybody for joining us today. You'll find as we go through this discussion about your cloud ERP journey that we're really not comparing these two platforms to one another. We're really trying to help you align the best platform with your business. And in some cases, you're going to find a lot of similarities between the two platforms. They have a similar accounting structure. Our update schedules are almost identical. You're also going to see very similar security and guarantees from the platform holder. And then your day-to-day operations are going to be very similar to one another. They might just look a little different. What I'm going to try to do throughout my portion of the presentation is to highlight those features within BC that we've seen customers really lean towards when making their ERP decision. So as you look at these two platforms, it's not really a comparison of the two of them. It's those things that differentiate themselves within the market, and particularly those things that we've seen customers make decisions around that really help mold the platform to your business. All right, so one of the things that we hear a lot is that BC is a new platform, which it really isn't. What Microsoft has done is taken a proven platform that was out there for 30 years. You might have heard of Nav or Navision, and they've really pushed it to the cloud. A lot of the operations that are legacy users, particularly in Nav or Navision, if you're in a later version that utilizes the role tailor client, so 2018 R2 or later, you're going to really see a lot of similarities between the two platforms. It's just now moved to the cloud, right? So you're utilizing this inside of a web browser or on your phone, which I'm going to highlight a little bit later. Microsoft has seen over 20,000 companies move to this SaaS platform since 2022. So that's been in the last 5 years. We're also seeing a 200% growth within those movements year over year. They haven't quite released their 2023 numbers, but I'm sure it's much higher, particularly with that 200% year over year. BC holds over 27% of the market share in the SMB space for a cloud ERP platform, and that's continuing to grow throughout the year. They also hold millions of 5-star reviews with users across the world in over 180 countries utilizing the SaaS platform. Independent study by Forrester last year showed that the ROI on your BC over 3 years is 162%, right? And that the payback on the actual initial investment with the ERP is less than a year, right? So back in the day, you had to budget 7 years, usually worth of time to do an upgrade. Now you're always on the newest platform and you've paid for it within the first year of implementation. That's huge, right? And then we've seen a 10% reduction in cost and hiring needs, right? So the platform is actually building and adding additional functionality within the environment and reducing cost while driving revenue. Just going to do a quick account showcase. So the big thing that Microsoft and LBMC touts is that whether you're 10 people or 10,000 people, BC can really fit your organization, right? We're going to see some globally recognized logos here, right? But the other part of this too is the environment is meant to scale around your business and not the other way around, right? The platform has the same functionality and features, whether you have to deal with a very small footprint with your market or if you're doing business globally. And Business Central utilizes a 2-tier structure to give you features and assets that every organization within that space sees. Okay, moving on. So, sorry, you're going to have access to your ERP at all times. You're always going to be able to hit the ERP, and you're never going to be able to get away from it. We found post-pandemic, 73% of employees are really looking for a hybrid option when you're working post-pandemic, right? So whether that's going into a traditional office space, working from home, or in some cases, like myself, reviewing a trial balance on the bed of my truck in a gas station parking lot, you have access to the ERP as long as you have cell phone signal and power. You're really seeing the market change, and it's becoming crucial to become agile within the space. Allowing the platform to be agile with you is really crucial as you become more competitive in your market space. Business Central obviously works within any kind of internet browser, but it also has apps available on the Windows, Android, and iOS stores. So you can actually work from your phone natively within the ERP without utilizing a web browser or another solution. Okay, so one of the big differentiating factors that we find within the ERP space is that Business Central really becomes the hub of information, but allows you to connect seamlessly throughout your entire organization. So if you're already on a Microsoft platform, particularly with productivity tools like Teams, Excel, Word, SharePoint, Outlook, OneDrive, you're going to see native functionality within the ERP that connects out of the box to your platforms. Some of the other things that are kind of a big feature add are that you can actually hit things like GitHub, Power BI, Azure, Microsoft CRM or customer engagement, several other CRM platforms, and thousands of other out-of-the-box connections that you can view as a centralized support structure for your global business, right? So as you continue to grow your business, you can actually add other platforms with the intent that Business Central really drives data, synchronizing it across the entire organization and enforcing structure, continuity, and accuracy. So we're going to pick up a poll question real quick, because one of the big things that we see in the space is what kind of CRM solution are you using? Because the ERP might be a deciding factor within that. So we'll take just a second and get you guys to answer that poll question. Give you guys just a second more. All right. So a lot with our other poll questions, it looks like we have a very good mix. You don't have a CRM solution, so this is obviously an opportunity to look at a platform that integrates with your ERP. A lot of people are using Excel, starter solutions, yeah, HubSpot, MailChimp, and then you're looking for a holistic solution with CRM or Salesforce. Great. So obviously, as you go through the next steps with the decision-making around your ERP, that has to be part of the scenario, right? So what I'm going to do next is kind of talk about where Business Central really differentiates itself in the space, right? What we've seen as the most impactful features within the ERP as people are making that decision around what are our next steps. So one of the big things that I would say really differentiates Business Central in the ERP space is that you have a full-blown assembly and manufacturing functionality within the ERP out of the box, right? So you can produce with supply and capacity constraints. And what that means is that if I don't have enough inventory, the system is going to enforce rules around that, around procurement. You can implement manufacturing processes according to a plan, and you can even be agile within that place by creating business rules and even leveraging Power Automate to create business logic associated with those. You can create a detailed BOM or bill of materials, right? Those BOMs can also be multi-level or impacted BOMs with sub-assemblies, right? So the idea is that your BOM rolls into a BOM, rolls into a finished good. You can also use resources, which can either be a person or time or even an effort around that assembly. And then you can produce kitted or finalized products with full-blown multi-tier availability built into the system out of the box. Best in class productivity and planning platform in the space. You can also do assemble to order, which is a lot of places, particularly with supply chain issues, are finding that you are short on stock or need to be made to order, right, based upon demand within the marketplace. Business Central has the ability to tie sales orders directly to the assembly process, and you can be very agile with your speed to market, particularly with finished product and materials on hand. You also have the ability to do things like substitutions integrated directly into the ERP. So if you have two like products, but there's a supply chain issue with the first, you have the ability within the ERP to suggest other products that might fit your customers' needs. You can also use either through discrete or process manufacturing the out-of-the-box modules that utilize multiple flushing methods, forward, reverse, manual flushing, to utilize, consume, and produce materials. You can also do real-time labor tracking that can be tied directly to timesheets and a multitude of payroll providers. You can also reconcile things like scrap, overhead, overruns, underruns, and then anything that was produced but not sold. One of the other bigger reasons that we see people lean towards Business Central over other mid-market ERPs is its out-of-the-box warehousing and distribution solutions. So if you find yourself spread across the country, maybe you use something like consignment inventory or you have multiple warehouses, everybody's had to struggle with the dealing with multiple inventory or multiple items in different locations. Business Central has the ability to enforce things like transfer orders, pick to order, sale from best warehouse. And you can even set up inside of those warehouses bins, zones, locations, and even enforce things like directed pick and put away, which are, I need somebody to go grab this from a very specific location and grab this very specific product. The system will actually enforce that. You can streamline receiving and capacity. So as you receipt goods, you can actually use that directed pick and put away system to minimize warehouse operations and decision-making while enforcing real-time business rules within your environment. You can actually expedite docking and shipping as well, right? So You can cross-dock items. Again, supply chain has become a real thing within the space that we've all found ourselves in. You can actually receive goods and directly ship them from the dock without creating a put away and let the system enforce that. Or you can prevent people from doing that to ensure that you're utilizing full best practice warehousing operations. You also have the ability to connect customers to the operations by having things like reserved bins, customer specific locations, and then minimizing cross-picked or cross-sold products, right? All of this is also available in a mobile application. So on your phone, on a mobile scanning device, mobile computers, your iPad, your Android tablet, all of this native functionality has been extended throughout the space to allow for more mobile application use within warehouses and operations. Okay, and some of the bigger features that have been added recently. So as of April 2022, Microsoft has partnered with Shopify. You will notice within every Business Central instance that you have a native Shopify connector now. It takes as little as 2 hours to roll up a Business Central instance and connect it to an operational Shopify site. Or you can actually leverage the out-of-the-box tools and processes within the ERP to get your environment into e-commerce. It is an integrated solution. It connects products, customers, orders, returns, shipments, and even things as far as credit card processing fees and shipping tracking, all native to the ERP and Shopify. So it's a bi-directional sync. So those instances where you have a customer-facing organization that utilizes Shopify to a great extent, you can now have BC emphasizing things like item consistency, inventory levels, warehouse locations, financial accuracy. And then you can leverage the ERP in the other bi-directional sense and drive things like new product releases. You can synchronize things with customer collections. You can prevent sales. You can also monitor and track and report directly natively from the ERP or other solutions like Power BI, which natively connect to the ERP. Okay, the other thing that really differentiates Microsoft Business Central in the SMB market is that it is connected to over 20,000 global solutions providers. These are unique instances of people who have gone out into the Microsoft space and decided that they found a niche either within a specific market, or somebody has had a very specific scenario that is repeated time over time. And now you have access to these solutions, which they are incentivized within the Microsoft space to stay up to date and competitive, and then provide not just the core ERP solution, but a broad array of additions that can make your business more impactful in the space. These numbers grow daily. More people become more competitive in the market. And this has become an instance where we can broaden a customer's experience within the ERP space by utilizing some of these third parties that we develop significant relationships with and understand their platform and leverage it. So you no longer have to look at custom solutions or any kind of coding whatsoever. And all it takes is just a quick relationship with that third party, all native to the ERP. And it just extends that additional functionality that you might be looking for when you have a unique scenario. So we got one more poll question here. And this is, do you have an IT team and what will be involved in your ERP implementation? So give you guys just a minute to answer that. And we'll jump back in here. Give you guys just a minute more. All right. Oh, wow. We're right at almost a third across the board. So about a third of you have a single person or a contact internally. Looks like about a third of you are using an MSP or an IT provider. And then a third of you actually have a full-blown internal IT team built around the ERP needs. Great. Okay, so let's move on and let's start talking about how do I begin the process for the financial journey to the cloud, right? So first thing that you really need to start doing is evaluating and analyzing your business, and particularly your market and individual needs. So taking a fresh look at what's happened in the business environment over the last several years, what's happening in your business and your competitors within that space, and maybe even your customers. Revenues and profits might become stagnant and you're finding it tough to recruit and retain employees. Perhaps the competitor has introduced a new business model or product that's negatively impacting your company, or you want to enter in a new market and you'd like to have a workaround to facilitate moving and that you're stalling in. Zeroing in on the specific issues and problem areas can help you set goals to sustain and grow your business. Next thing is collaborating and communication, right? You need to get early input and often from relevant stakeholders so that you're not missing out on key pieces of the puzzle. Executive buy-in is critical, but it's also crucial to involve employees. They're going to help you adapt to the new business practices and technology solutions, and remember to get constant feedback. Next, you would want to take a look and assess your current technology requirements as well as your future ones. Will the technology solutions that you use today help you achieve your business goals, or will they hold you back? Look at the solution that automate repetitive processes and readily provide you with information, analysis tools that you need to make better business decisions. Consult with a trusted technology advisor who can provide you clarity about the different solutions within your space. And supply realistic details about the resources, cost, and timeframes with that partner, making sure that you understand the full requirements of deploying this new solution. Next thing, as you think about cloud solutions and you ramp up for innovation, it's no wonder that SMB adoption of cloud-based or software as a service solutions has risen steadily over the years. Cloud providers offload SMBs from having to own, deploy, and manage infrastructure and applications, enabling your businesses to get up, running, and productive with the new solutions more quickly and comparable on-premise solutions. As important, modern cloud solutions are built on open, flexible platforms that provide real-time, consistent information. Cloud providers are also embedding new technologies, such as AI or artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, or Internet of Things, and even more new and prevalent solutions within the space. This means that customers can access their new capabilities within the applications that they already use, instead of having to evaluate, purchase, and integrate new ones of their own. Talk to your peers in companies that are similar to yours that are successfully executing digital transformation. Connect with people in industry associations and communities and ask technology vendors for customer references you can talk with. Find out how they're setting goals, selecting solutions, what they did right, and any pitfalls they might have encountered. Keep the big picture in mind. While it's important to set priorities, whether to improve employee experience, streamline financials, and planning or personalize the customer experience, you don't want to end up with more modern but still disjointed set of silo solutions. Select technology solutions from vendors who build their systems with open, flexible technologies that you can add new capabilities as you need to in an incremental yet integrated manner. Aim to integrate workflows and create a more unified view of data from different areas of the company. This will not only help streamline business processes, but more easily see what's going on in your business and how that happens in one area and can affect another. All right, so I think we have a little bit of time left to open up for Q&A.
Yes, Patrick, thanks so much. So we'll start with some of the questions that were dropped in the chat feature. Glenn, this one is for you. Does Intact have project accounting capabilities?
Yes, it does. It has a very robust project accounting capabilities to kind of take you through the whole project cycle and billing, whether you bill a fixed fee or time and materials, or you need to capture, labor cost, all those types of variables. And also, if based upon that, if you need to then do any type of deferred revenue based off that, or have multiple type of billing scenarios, it handles all those type of things for you to allow you to, bill your customer and also recognize your revenue.
Great, thank you. Follow-up question, does Intact have customizable quote functionality?
Intact does have, as far as the order to cash process, it does have workflow as far as quotes, sales orders. If you do inventory, it has shippers, and then of course your customer invoice. So it has that capability to do that, but I would say Intact does not have some of the multiple quote version type of things where that you have in some of your CRM systems, like D365 or Salesforce. It doesn't have quite that functionality because it's not the integral part of the system, but it does allow just in the workflow process to have quotes and move it on through the workflow, convert that to a sales order or to a sales invoice as you need to. So it has that type of functionality, but not as much as some might be dealing with if they have a CRM solution already.
Okay, great. Another question, does either Intact or Business Central have a fixed asset module? Glenn, you want to start?
Yes, so Intact does have a fixed asset module. It's not part of I'll say the native core, but it does, Intact does have a fixed asset module. There's actually kind of usually a couple versions of that we'll recommend. One of them, the one from Sage Intact, allows you to do, if you track both book and tax on your financials, if you report on both of those, it will track those types of things. There's also another version, it's actually from built within Intact, but from one of the partners from the marketplace that we recommend a lot, and it's kind of based off of volume, so it has more tiered type of pricing than is available. So a lot of times we really try to look for what's the best solution for the client to make the right recommendations for what their needs are.
And then I'll jump in here as well. So Business Central may be a little bit different, where we actually do have a native core functionality within the ERP to manage fixed assets through procurement, management, asset. You can run a depreciation schedule on multiple calendars, right? So you do straight line, customer, variable, or even manual depreciation across that platform. So I would say the ERP maybe is a little different from Sage in that space, where we do natively interact with the financial module for fixed assets.
Great, thank you both. We are at the end of time. There are a couple of questions that got submitted, so we'll make sure to share answers for those. I want to be respectful of everyone's afternoon. Thank you again for joining us today. We really appreciate you spending your afternoon with us. We'd love to be your trusted advisor for all technology projects and strategy that you have going on. So please reach out to us at info@lbmctech.com if you need anything. Again, you will be receiving a survey post-event, as well as the webinar slides and the recording. And we'll alert you to some upcoming webinars that we have. We're very passionate about ongoing education. So in a couple of weeks, we'll have the Executive's Guide to Selecting a Managed Service Provider. You can have the opportunity to connect with LBMC and OnBase. And in a few weeks, for our Sage Intact users, we'll have Hot Topics training, so some of our ongoing education. Thank you again, everyone, for joining today. And we'll share out the recording, the slides, and a survey following today's event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.